Hello, welcome back to another episode of Xbox Infinite, the show where we talk about PlayStation and how bad their showcase was. I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to mess around this episode. I'm going to introduce our guest, and we're going to get straight into the slander, the smoke, the fire, all that shit. Asante, welcome back, man. Always love having you on the show. It's good to see you back. How's your week been? What have you been up to? How fun has Twitter been lately?
Good evening, good day, all. No, it's been great, man. It's good to be back here. I'm excited to be amongst friends. It's been a while since I've been on the show. I'm usually lingering in your chat in the background on a Friday, even though mostly Friday is a date night. So thank you to Mrs. Asante for allowing me to do this. But no, it's been a good time. I'm excited to talk about this showcase because. Yeah, Umbra, you want some slander from me? There might be slander, but not the way you think it. We shall see. We shall see. It's been an interesting week, so I'm excited to talk about it.
It absolutely.
Yeah. Kate told us in the green room that he was going to go extra hard on his Sony showcase. So we're going to hold him to the fire, chat. All right. If he doesn't hold them to account, I want you to put a fist or something in the chat or something for him. I don't know.
I'm going to point out all the Unreal Engine 5 faux pas. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, that there was many. Dude, Cutie, welcome back. Another week, another Xbox Infinite, and a different PFP. How's your week been? What have you been up to? What are you playing?
Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. And Mrs. Asante, you're amazing. I already know you're the real MVP of the Asante show. So, yeah, definitely shout out to you.
You need to calm down. You need to calm down. What are we doing right now?
Hey, if she's allowing you to be here, that's got to be called out.
Never hear the end of this one. Go ahead.
Another amazing week in gaming. Some wins, some L's. We're here to talk about them. You know it. For me this week, I played some Planet of Lana. That cat will be the bloody death of me, I swear. And I've been trying to finish off Jedi Survivor. I haven't finished it yet. I'm just taking it slow, really enjoying my time in that game. I know you all loved it. So, yeah, really happy to be here and get into topics.
Absolutely. Damn it. This has been messing me up. I'm going to have to manually shuffle you guys around. Infinite Umbra, welcome back. Another week. A very interesting week.
Yeah.
How's your week been? What have you been up to?
I have to make sure to jump in. I've been good, man. I had to make sure to jump in before Pete tried to usurp me again.
I just want to say good day to everyone. Just people get out
Now, settle down.
Pete said that he was stealing all my takes today, everybody. So if you hear him making any salient points, know that he got it from me. No, man, it's been a good week. Well, not for everybody. Sony, not so much. But yeah, man, I've been enjoying gaming. I've been playing Planet of Lana. I'm at the end of it, I believe. I found most of the stuff I need to find. I'm really impressed with that game. I think it's a beautiful game. If you all haven't tried it, give it a try. I am still playing Dead Island 2, but I've beaten it. I just want to collect the rest of the achievements for it, and I need somebody to help me out with co-op to get these things done. And that's it, man. I mean, we had the fix the other day, me and Danny, and we had, of course, Jedi and John Wolf join us. So yeah, it was a good show. Man, happy to be here with you all tonight. Kay, thanks for joining us, brother.
Of course, anytime, my friend, anytime.
Absolutely, JediKnightPete. Now it's your turn. How's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? You haven't been on Twitter much. This is the week to be on it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, look, I was on Twitter reading everybody's takes and really thoroughly enjoying that. Special shout out to J-Rock, man. I was refreshing my Twitter every 5 minutes just to catch his tweets. They were fantastic. I had a great show on The Fix with Umbra. My first time on the show, I definitely elevated it. And then I went straight on to the 50th episode of the Game Set Live show with KY Bobby. So I did double duty yesterday. Really fun times. I'm playing Planet of Lana. Really beautiful, chilled out game to play in a party. Really enjoying it. Kay, glad to have you back. Bring some, esteem to our show, mate.
I appreciate it. Before we get into the proceedings proper, since I haven't heard anybody mention it yet, has anybody played Humanity? If you haven't, go check it out. It's very weird, Lemmings-like, on the PlayStation Premium thing this month, and also on Steam for those who care. But
you believe that we're subscribed to PlayStation Premium? Okay.
Hey, man, maybe you buy your games like a normal human being. Who
Oh
knows?
no.
You know.
Oh no. We leave that to the PlayStation crowd. We rent our games over here, sir.
I am actually subscribed to the premium, but I tried to cancel it. And that's one thing. They
Yeah.
make it really difficult to cancel that thing. Like, it's not easy.
Really?
It's not a one button push. It's not a like cancel. You've got to go to this, and then you have to request a cancel. Like, may I please cancel this service, sir? So yeah, so I gave up, which I think is the plan. I like, I don't
Wow.
like the way they move, but yeah, this
You
week
try
I've
to
been,
cancel. They send somebody at your door knocking. You sure you want to do that?
you got those cards in your back pocket. Yeah, look, I've been playing a little bit of Planet Alana. It's been a very interesting week. You know what happened to me? I will say is my Twitter took a shit. Like right as it's like someone sabotaged me. Like Jim Ryan was like, Like just as the PlayStation Showcase dropped, I was trying to post stuff, and it would just sit there posting and not actually post for like 3 days. I was like, no.
It knew. It knew.
So
It knew what it was doing.
yeah, it knew exactly what it was. I'm definitely Jim Ryan was in there. Anyway, look, we will jump. We will jump into the show. Obviously, we're going to take it off. Hit the PlayStation Showcase. Look, everyone loves giving scores. I really don't. I sort of hate scoring showcases, and mostly because I'll back and forth in my head about, what about this and what about this? It's a very nuanced sort of thing to sort of score a showcase, but I will give my score now because someone did ask me earlier in the week, and I was like, I don't like scoring stuff, but I got to give it 2 scores, right? So for Xbox, this is a definite 7. No. No, for gamers, it wasn't a terrible showcase. It was pretty good. It had some bangers in there that were decent, like Phantom Blade. Really liked the look of that. Helldivers 2, I don't think that's going to live up to the hype. Plucky Squire, we've been waiting for that, Umbra. We've been waiting for that for a while. Street Fighter 6 looked good. Assassin's Creed Mirage looked like a sort of a return to the old Assassin's Creed, which is great. Alan Wake 2 also looked really, really good. Dragon's Dogma 2, that looked great. I'll even say the Resident Evil 4 VR mode looked pretty cool. Marathon, I'm interested. I'm not sold. Crossfire Sierra Squad, absolute fire. No, I'm kidding. But there was some good stuff in there for gamers, but for PlayStation players, PlayStation only guys, and the guys who just lord exclusives and love that kind of stuff, man, this is a massive miss. Huge miss. And there's a lot that's sort of happened around this in the last couple of days. Rumors coming out, the media getting involved with some of the dumbest takes I've ever seen. There's been a lot's happened around it, but just on the outset, and I'm sure that we will slowly sort of eke into this because it's all interlinked. Just from the outset, Cutie, I wanted to sort of get your thoughts on the showcase. I didn't say what it was for PlayStation players. I think that is it's a huge L. So I would literally give it a 3. If I was a PlayStation player, I think we saw MBG literally nearly in tears. I'm sure there were tears in that man's eyes. Persona,
I saw it.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Persona was broken. He was a broken man. King Thrash, I love to see this stuff. I loved it. Every second of this stuff. These guys
on Iron Lord's
Yep.
podcast. King just destroying him left and right and torturing him the entire podcast.
It was
That was funny.
It was fantastic. All of this was fantastic to see. And you know what? And Kay, I'm sorry, I know you like to keep things moderate, but these motherfuckers deserve every little bit of smoke that they get. They well deserve it with the lauding of I love the first 2 entries into the showcase. PS5, PC. I love that. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. So for me, it was a 10. Right? Personally, 10. I'm like, oh my God, the smoke, the tears, the salt is just gonna be amazing. And then my Twitter took a shit. But Cutie, what did you think of the showcase? What were your thoughts on it, say, from a gamer's perspective? And then, what do you think from a PlayStation perspective? If you were PlayStation only, how would you feel about it?
Look, overall, I think there was a lot of exciting games for gamers in general. And, especially for me, Assassin's Creed Mirage looks fantastic. They're going back to their roots. It's a fantastic path for them to be going back down. I hope it's a win for them. I really, really do. But if I was a PlayStation player only and I was, an elitist in that area, a pony, as you call them, yeah, I probably would be a little bit disappointed because pretty much every single game can be played on Xbox. And if it's not on Xbox, it's on PC. So, yeah, it's I don't know. I was pretty lacklustered in it in general. Like nothing was incredibly amazing from a PlayStation perspective. But from an Xbox perspective, I'm like, great. And like I saw what Xbox did on Twitter. I saw they were like, look at all these amazing games that are coming. I love being a gamer, don't you? And it's like pretty much every single game
We're gonna get
that
into
they
that.
announced in the PlayStation showcase. So
We're gonna get into
I
that.
thought that was hilarious.
Mhm, mhm.
Pardon?
Absolutely. Oh, so we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then but you know what? And okay. This is something that I've had a feeling about, and I think we'll get to it. But do you think that PlayStation are deliberately holding back because of the ABK deal?
We will get into that in just a minute. We're just going to go
Mm.
through what everyone thinks of the showcase, and then we'll dive into that.
All right.
Infinite Umbra, what were your thoughts, man? As a gamer, what did you think about that? What was your...
Well, as a gamer, I mean, particularly an Xbox gamer, yeah, it's like if you look at it from that perspective, it was a decent showcase, especially if you go in not knowing about a lot of this, right? If a lot of people went in and they didn't know about Metal Gear Solid Delta, and things of these other games like Plucky Squire, we've seen all these things. If we go into it like that and you don't know about this stuff, I can see you coming away from it like, man, that was great. Problem is, for us, we knew all these things. Metal Gear Solid was already spoiled too, so that took the wind right out of its sails. You also look at it from a PlayStation fan perspective. The PlayStation fans have made it very clear over the years, and I'm sure you all would agree, that multiplayer games are not their bread and butter. It's not the thing that they particularly care for. They want third person, first party games that, action, adventure, et cetera, they don't care typically for multiplayer games. Well, that has typically been the Xbox side of things when it comes to that's been the Xbox's strength. You see it in our first party games over here and everything else from single player and multiplayer suites. Sony doesn't really have that. It's very far and few in between where you'll see that, like factions, which I'm sure we'll also touch on later as well. But if you look at the game shown, and I pointed this out even watching the Gamers Initiative a while ago, the games that were shown that you could even get excited for first party was just Spider-Man and maybe Helldivers 2. That is the major problem. And if you look at all the other things shown, everything else was multi-plat or possibly timed exclusive. That is another big problem. And I'll say this too. A lot of the things shown we had seen already. Immortals of Avium, we already seen gameplay of that. Not a surprise. Didn't need to be there as far as I'm concerned. The Plucky Squire, was good to see more of it, but we had already seen it. We've already seen its concept. That didn't really need to be there. What else? Final Fantasy 16. Now, they had to show that, I'm sure. I'm not mad at them for doing it. But again, we've already seen it. It's not a surprise. Assassin's Creed Mirage, already seen it. We've already seen some gameplay of it too. Now, we saw a bit more here, but again, it was not a surprise. Street Fighter 6, not a surprise. We've heard of Dragon's Dogma 2, but we didn't see gameplay until this, so I'll give that a pass. Beat Saber coming to PSVR, and the whole VR section, no thank you. I have no interest in it. So all of these things, none of those were a surprise for everybody. So a lot of that win was taken out of its sale on top of Metal Gear already being spoiled and the cat being let out of the bag, that it's not exclusive. That's the bigger issue. If it had still been exclusive and then shown, it still would have hit heavy for them. It not only was spoiled already, but it was also let loose that it is also coming to Xbox. The showcase, other than that, everything else was poor. If you look at how it was now, if you go to pacing, you could probably say that was well done. I'll give it that silver lining, I suppose, because they didn't do a lot of waste of time in talking. They just showcase after showcase of game. But One misstep, obviously, with them showing a GT movie trailer. It's like, why? So it's just a lot of missteps here. Personally, if I had to, are we doing a rating for it now, or do you want to wait for that?
No. Right away, sir.
If I had to rate it first, I wavered between a 6 and a 5. I had to go to 5 because after I thought about it more, I thought about how poor it would be. And I think I'm pretty fair when it comes to this stuff. If this had been Xbox and they had done this and shown this like this and showed all these game as a service games, no gameplay, no release dates, not even for Spider-Man, just fall, which could be a delay. I mean, because some of it did look like to me they needed a little more polish. I still trust Insomniac though, right? So I expect that to hit this year. But no launch dates for anything.
Oh, you expect it to hit this year?
I do expect it to land this year. I do. Just because I trust Insomniac enough. I don't know if it'll land
I don't know.
In September like it was rumored, but maybe around November or December, maybe, right? It's possible. But my whole thing is like all these things shown, nothing really spoke to the fan base of the PlayStation gamers. The multiplayer game as a service, that's not for them. That more spoke to us. And I think, I think somebody has said it best where they said this was more or less an Xbox show, if anything. And it's hard to disagree with that, and did I just get an achievement?
Yes, sir.
I had to look at my TV and see if I left the game on. I'm not lying to you. I'm like, whoa.
Oh my God, what the heck?
I'm dead serious.
What
I
was
looked at my
that?
TV. I thought I got an achievement on the game. I'm like, oh shit.
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I think it's just those different things that added up to make the showcase poor overall. And I'm not trying to rail on them. I know a lot of PlayStation fans, you guys are eating it up. No, I'm not trying to say this to trash these, our Hooved brothers. I'm really not. I expected the showcase to actually be really, really good. If you all remember, I praised it. I said, I think it's going to be great. I am glad, however, and I'll say this, that I did not think that Xbox Showcase would be worse. I thought Xbox would be better. And it looks like that's going to be the case, unless Xbox just monumentally fumbles the ball here at the 1 yard line. That's the only way they can drop this right here. It's a tremendous alley-oop.
I mean, if you're a PlayStation fan, you can't take it any other way than a massive. I mean, look, there is. From this list, we get a fantastic list from one of our favorite daughters, Red Panda. She made up a list, and in this list, there is literally 3 first-party only not even games because one of them's a movie. So there's 2 first-party only games. That's a massive hit and a huge change in direction.
Absolutely. And like Mark just pointed out, because Xbox has never fumbled. Absolutely. And that's why so many of us was like, hey, Microsoft, don't you dare drop this opportunity and mess this up. Because we know sometimes Microsoft will take 2 steps back after they've taken 3 steps forward. They got to get themselves out of that. But I think they are. After we saw what Phil looks like at that interview, I think already he was like, okay, we're about to have some showstoppers at this show. And I think that is the case. I think we're going to see and to be real, just be real with you. All they need to do is show 3 different first-party games, in-game engine and everything. Show Fable, show Avowed, and show, I don't know, Contraband or something like that. Game over. And of course, with the other third-party deals they've likely struck up, and all these coming to Game Pass, it's already a W.
All they have to do is show 3 exclusives and they'll already be beating them. So
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
She literally just stole my answer, Pete. I said what I'm going to do to you. I told you that.
But Kay, I got to hit up Kay because you did say something, and this is Kay's, I think one of Kay's favorite sayings that he says about Xbox. And what is it? Snatching defeat from the jaws.
Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, which is what they do a lot of these days. Yes.
Yeah. So this could happen with Xbox. Mark's actually got a point there. But what'd you think? What'd you think of that? We'll definitely get into, I think, what does Xbox even need to do now. But what'd you think of the show overall as a gamer? And then maybe from a PlayStation perspective, do you think it's a massive L, or do you think that this is just a slight little fumble misstep?
So yeah, I agree with everybody's take on it, that it needs to be judged in multiple aspects, right? Because as a game showcase, in a vacuum, without all the backdrop, without all the 2 years, without all that extra stuff behind it, without all that stuff, it was a decent show in my opinion, right? Imagine you're a gamer who just has a console. This is a hypothetical world because there's far more context behind that, but still, imagine you're sitting down here and you're watching this. I think that a total of 34 games were shown off here,
33.
right? And some of these games, 33. Forgive me. Yes.
Oh, hang on. Are we including
the DLC?
Are we including the
I counted the DLC.
We're not including the movie though, right?
No, we're not counting the movie, but I counted the Destiny 2 DLC. Without that, it's 33. You're right.
Hey, I watched the IOP, okay, and when that part came up and King was laughing his butt off, and J Dub's like, "What? You all not going to see this movie? Y'all don't want to see this?"
Yeah, I know, right? It's like they'll definitely be seeing that movie. I don't even like Gran Turismo, but you know what? I'll watch a gaming racing movie. Like, who's not going to watch that?
Exactly.
No,
I can't wait for King to tweet that out. It's going to be amazing.
I need to be generous because I feel like people are not being generous. The show in a vacuum was all right. Now, even in that vacuum, was the show to the caliber that we expect from PlayStation? Of course not. They are kings of the mic drop. They created the essence of that E3 of dreams, and everyone was expecting that that's what you'd get again, right? And that was not what you got. What you got here. So because of that, do they deserve some smoke? Of course they do. Although in that respect, I will also say they don't have their version of a Aaron Greenberg out there either hyping or tampering expectation, right? So they just put out that they're having a showcase, and then everyone else fills in the gaps. It's not their fault if the gaps you filled in were not necessarily the most accurate, right? So I will cut PlayStation some slack there because, again, if I was just a gamer, right? I have a console. I hear the PS5 is the console, so I bought it. Right? I go about my work. When I come home from work, I'm tired. I just want to play some games. And I look at this thing. I saw some amazing games shown here. Right? I really did. Right? There were a lot. Not everyone was for me. I'm looking at you there, Foam Stars or whatever. But there were a lot of games there that were actually pretty good. So in that respect, from a gamer's perspective, I thought it was a decent show. But exactly to the point that you guys have already made, if you're a PlayStation, if you're a hardcore, hey, I'm here for the list wars, look at mine, better than yours, all that. Yeah, this was like a 4 out of 10. This is really, really bad. Like they really did not have anything for you to use as, hey, look at us. We have something to see, right? We were all speculating that this show was the show that was gonna be the nothing to see here post ABK purchase. That's not what this show was, right? That's definitely not what this show is. It's not a show to convince you that it's worthy, that PlayStation's still worthy of your time. As you guys have already pointed out, exclusives, I think there was only 2 real exclusives. I am probably one of the rare few who remembers Helldivers 1. I played the heck out of it on PS3 and on my Vita. It was before its time. A lot of games out right now are exactly like Helldivers now, but at the time when Helldivers came out, it was pretty unique. So I'm excited to see that. And yes, it is an unabashed Stormship Troopers clone. Yes, it is. It is that. It was that before. It is that now. It's very fun. I actually enjoyed that. So that's cool. What else? What other real exclusive? Well, of course, Spider-Man 2, which was amazing. And it looks like Insomniac went to school and sat down and went, all right, there, Naughty Dog. How about we trade a little bit of, you give me a little bit of this, I'll give you a little bit of that, and you can see it on display. It's literally Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Like that section they showed on Spider-Man 2, like harkened back to that, right? So there's a lot to be excited there, right? But to the point that y'all are all trying to make, yes, this was not the show, with the context added, with the market leader, the leader of these showcases, the ones that's supposed to rip your face apart and have everyone else be looked at as, hey, here, this is the benchmark. No, this was not the show, right? I know that everyone on this panel, I am the only one on this panel that is a VR head. I will admit that freely. I know that VR is a niche within a niche within a niche. I get all that. Yes. I know that many think that VR is a thing that's never going to be. I get all that. They have a really great headset. I've said it on multiple shows. I have $1,000 literally cooling its heels, waiting for a next gen headset to claim it. This was the show I was waiting for it to claim it for me. It did not do that, and I'm sad by saying that because I think the headset hardware is great, but they keep they keep depending on third-party ports, and it's just not what I'm there for. The minute you show me Beat Saber, I'm like, all right, that's like you're selling me a TV and you're selling features, the remote that comes included with it. You have a problem. I'm sorry. So, even in that respect, where I was hoping they would sell me on it, they definitely did not sell me on it. So, yeah, as a dude who really likes PlayStation, who wants to see PlayStation succeed, this was like a 4 out of 10. As a general gamer who just likes games, who just wants to see the games and enjoy themselves and all of that, I'd say this is a 7, 6.5, 7 out of 10. Not bad, right?
Oh, you worse than me on the ratings, actually, Kay. All right, I hear you.
I'm saying, like, look, man, you saw Alan Wake 2. You saw Dragon's Dogma, right? You saw Assassin's Creed. Many people want Assassin's Creed to go back to its heyday and all of that. There was a lot to see here if you are just a fan of games, just generally, right? So I'm not gonna give it shade for that. But yeah, as a PlayStation dude who's sitting there going, screw third parties, none of that matters. All we're here for is the first party fare. Yeah, this was really terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. You telling me that Crossfire game didn't catch your attention? The mighty Crossfire?
And I write notes on all this stuff, right? I write notes when I'm watching these things so I can reference them later. I'm literally looking at my notes right now. And by the time we got to Crossfire Sierra Squad, I'm like, Smilegate, lols. Who told them this was okay?
The funniest part is I thought it looked better than what we got. I thought it looked better than what we got, being honest, though. I was like, okay, it looks slightly better.
Yeah.
It might Crossfire X looked good when they first showed it on Xbox as well.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be taking that trailer to the bank.
Yeah. I would say that should be the work of the trailer masters there, who did a good job convincing you. Whether it looks that way when you actually see it, we shall see. And I'm sorry, I see you in the chat there, Gerald Mack, the man Gerald Mack, the VR head him extraordinaire. I am getting tired of zombies and multiplayer shooters.
Look, let me just add to that Crossfire thing. It didn't look that good. If you actually watched it, one of the guys, Blues Brother, nunned it across the screen when he got to the door. Actually just slid across about a meter just to sort of line up with the next action sequence. It didn't look that good. And I don't like, how do you think, like, after the reception of Crossfire X, like, if you're going to have that in your stable, excuse the pun, then why would you show that? Just keep it in the stables, man. Like, if people want to play it, that's I don't know. Like, and this sort of brings us to the next thing. But I'm going to go to Pete first because I haven't. Pete, what were your thoughts on the show as a gamer? The show as say you're a PlayStation fan from that sort of perspective, and a Twitter warrior. What are your thoughts on the showcase as a whole?
Yeah, so I've done this a couple of times now where I've been on the Fix and Game Set Live, and I did have to rate the show as a gamer as a whole, and then if I was typically looking at it as a PlayStation fan, and I think they're two very different things. And I think, Kay, you're a little bit harsh with the 7. So as a gamer, I would give it an 8. There were some titles that I was incredibly excited to see. Top of my list, Dragon's Dogma 2. I've been waiting for that game forever. I love the first one. Like I said before, it's a criminally underrated game. It's one of the best RPG games out there. It has some of the best fighting mechanics of any RPG I think ever made. That and Kingdoms of Amalur I think stand head and shoulders above a lot of other RPGs. So that was fantastic for me to see. Then Metal Gear Solid, although I just thought the trailer for Metal Gear Solid left a lot to be desired. I don't think it showed off the game well. I think I'm going to really enjoy playing that game. Alan Wake 2, another game that just really stood out, looked absolutely beautiful. And if it plays like Control, and I think it will, I think that Remedy have come a long way since the first Alan Wake, and if you know, and the game looks like that, plays like Control, going to be an absolutely fantastic game. Marathon, it's Bungie's next big thing. Bungie just don't miss.
Sorry.
Their games are always fantastic.
They are going
really
at you in the
looking forward
chat.
to that. Yeah, look, as a PlayStation fan, on the other hand, you can't leave anything but incredibly disappointed by their showing. What were the first party games shown? Fair Game by Haven Studios, their first game as a first party studio for PlayStation, Jade Redmond's next big thing. They haven't proven themselves. We don't know what it's going to be like. It's a games of a service game. It looked like, say, Watch Dogs meets Payday, I guess, but we didn't see any gameplay, so we don't know what the gunplay is going to be like. We don't really know anything about it. And what I'm really concerned about is whether PlayStation players will actually play a multiplayer game. Typically, a PlayStation is a single player console. So you go there for your single player games, and they've never really been known for their multiplayer experiences, which is why I think they needed to release it on PC at the same time. Riskit, going back to your point earlier when they said that they're releasing it both on PS5 and PC. I think they need to do that. It was out of necessity more than anything else. What else was first party? There wasn't much. Concord is another game from a studio that they just got, Firewalk. We don't know anything about them. This is this is the first game that they've put out. And from that trailer, honestly, the only thing I got out of that trailer was they were copying Starfield. Basically, that's all I got. How you get a first-person shooter from a jiggling burger in space is beyond me. Anyway, that's
only
the way.
thing we know. Only thing we know about those devs is they are all mainly Bungie devs. So they basically bought up the an extension of Bungie with that.
Yeah. And look, that bodes well to the game being good. But look, honestly, you just never know. It could have been the dregs of the Bungie talent. We just don't really know. Then there was Marathon, a first-party game. Yes, it's first-party, but literally the second the showcase ended, Xbox released a trailer with the Xbox banner over it with the Marathon name. So letting you know that it's going to be playable on Xbox as well. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but Bungie were up to their old tricks in that trailer. There's like a secret to it, and you can go get a code out of it, and there's a 6.5-minute video doc that someone cracked the code for it, and you can now watch it, and it goes a little bit more in depth of the game. There's no real gameplay shown, but they said that it's almost in alpha, and the next time we see it, we'll see some gameplay. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then the Gran Turismo movie, I suppose you consider that first party, can't you? Maybe.
Honestly, I've been giggling the whole time. J-Rock, so good. We got pony alerts going everywhere. Red Dead Panda. How many sugar cubes did Pete have? This is so...
Wow. JediKnightPeter. JediKnightPeter.
I don't know where you got 8 from, dude. Like,
no, I said 8 as a gamer, and then I rated it 6 as a play, and then I didn't give my PlayStation
6?
score yet, so I gave it, and then I went back and watched it again, and it's dropped to a 4 for a PlayStation gamer. It is they must have been devastated, and I actually said last week that I thought PlayStation were going to drop the hammer down on this show, and I truly believe that. I thought that they were going into their Phase 2 section of the PlayStation 5 life cycle, and I really thought they were going to come with something special, as they're known to do. But that's just not the case. And we had a big watch party. I think we had me, Umbra, Bushido, Colt Eastwood, Zorka, Monad, some, really cool people to chill out and watch it with and hug eat. And the negativity when we were watching the showcase was just blatant. Like it just really
Yeah,
didn't
but we're
sit
all
with anybody.
Xbox, Pete. Of course it was negative.
Yeah,
you know
but
what
we're
I'm
also
saying?
gamers, cutie. We're also gamers, and we want to see good games. And look, I do let them off the hook a little bit with those games I named earlier. Like, I'm looking forward to Dragon's Dogma. I'm looking forward to Marathon. I'm looking forward to Alan Wake 2. I'm looking forward to Assassin's Creed Mirage. I'm
On
really going to
Xbox.
enjoy those games. Yeah, on Xbox. Yeah, on the console of my choice. So,
And just to
yeah,
add
look,
to what
they're
Pete
my
said,
thoughts.
we were all super positive before the show started. Just
Yeah,
to
no,
point
that
that
is
out.
true. Yeah, that to honestly, like, I don't think I was in any conversations in any party in any conversation where people were talking about the showcase, and we were like, yeah, I hope they have an L with the showcase. Like, we always expect PlayStation to really flex and to really show their prominence in the gaming industry, and unfortunately, they just didn't this time. And reasons why, I suppose we'll talk about. I think Riskit's dead.
For MBG, I would just tell them.
Oh, I'm definitely not dead. No, not at all.
Because you're not talking.
No,
You
no,
all
I
ruined
was
my
just,
musical,
I
my
was just,
musical selection from Yodani, but
I was just gonna say
And
you're
Yodani, I
you're
cried,
really
Yodani.
you're really positive.
One last thing.
You're really positive, and then the show started, and then you all started doing this. So, and you'll see that on your screen in a minute. Typical
I
exploit
gave it
behavior.
a 4 for PlayStation, so I'm not being a shill, but I will say that welcome to the Jim Ryan era of PlayStation. So I've said it for about a year now that I think PlayStation are going to lament the loss of Sean Layden and how they chose Jim Ryan, a suit, over a true gamer, Sean Layden, that greenlit some of the best games that we've ever seen and really prompted the absolute dominance of the PS4 in that life cycle over Xbox, almost killing Xbox entirely. How you can promote Jim Ryan over him is just beyond me. And look, I mean, this is what PlayStation gamers get. They continually just shill, and now look what they've come to bite them back in the ass. They think that they can put out this absolute trash and that the PlayStation fans will eat it up. Well, not this time. The pushback from them is really good to see. I think it should have been done a while ago, but hopefully Sony wake up now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's actually quite a few things that have sort of. This is not a PlayStation podcast, by the way. I just wanted to make that clear. But there has just been an absolute titload, double D's Umbra, if you're going to ask, an absolute titload of news and insider information and just a lot flying in thick and fast. In the last couple of days, it's like the floodgates opened and every dirty little secret PlayStation's had has just been hitting Twitter. And I am here for it. I love it. See, I thought that they were going to come hard as well. Like, I thought this was hammered down as well. I think everyone thought that. I don't think we had any reason to think otherwise. We sort of knew what they had. We knew they had Metal Gear. We knew they had Wolverine. We knew they had these big first-party bangers. And they came with the gas, and not the gas in the way that you want it. I don't think anyone saw it happening. But for me, it was always a win either way, right? It's a win if they have a great show and I get great games. I love that. I got a PS5. That would be great. But it's also a win when they drop the ball because I get to just smother myself in the salt. All right, look, I am going to move on. But before I do, I've got a few supers in there and a question. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're new here, we go live 8 p.m. every Friday. But look, I will also say if you guys want to ask a question, just type question in front of your question and it will highlight it to me just like Malicious Munch did, and I will read it out. Red Wolf started off with the puke emoji. I think he's talking about the PlayStation show with the 99 cents. Thank you, Red Wolf. Shooter 2853 with the $10 super chat says, Riskit, put this towards your next biscuit. Yeah, Tim Tam. Yeah, so that's what, 2, 4, 6, that's 5 packets of Tim Tams. Thank you, Shooter.
Get yourself a Popeye's biscuit. You'll never get another one.
No. Tim Tams over everything. Pyro Mad with the £5 super chat. Over under 30% marathon will be free to play. I feel it'll be $15.99 on PS, but Xbox will get it in Game Pass. I guess he's asking that. Yeah, I don't think there's any chance that thing's coming to Game Pass. I don't know if it's. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Do you think that's going to be a PS Plus? Basically, do you think it's going to be free to play PS Plus or hit Game Pass?
Which game?
Okay.
Marathon.
Marathon.
Oh no,
I
it's
actually think there's a
free
good.
to play.
Marathon will be
Probably.
a
Yeah,
free-to-play
there's a good
game.
chance.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a good
it'll
chance it's free to
definitely-
play. Yeah.
It's on
it'll
Xbox,
definitely be a
though.
free-to-play game.
Yeah, it's on Xbox for sure. They already confirmed that, but
Yeah,
it's definitely
yeah.
going to be.
And-
Go watch the
most
video,
folks
Doc.
don't-
You can see that the guns that they're using, I think, are broken down into maybe 6 or 8 things. I can see all of them being, just how they do with Destiny. You can just buy things to make the gun look better, make your character look better. I think that's how they'll play it.
Yeah, that's the only way to
I was
play
gonna-
it.
Go ahead,
Folks
Kay,
don't
I'm
really
sorry.
remember that Marathon is their first franchise.
Yeah.
Even before Halo.
On the Mac. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, exactly. And even there, it was exactly this, a shooter. So they're just finally getting to what they've always wanted to do with that franchise. They just have the technology to do it now.
Yeah, but it was
right now. I
one
wouldn't be
thing-
it was
surprised.
nothing like this though. This I played
No,
Marathon
of course,
back in the day.
yeah.
It was nothing like
Yeah,
this. This is a
this
total.
is the full culmination of the vision. Absolutely.
I was
But I wouldn't be
One thing I'm
surprised if it
disappointed
wasn't.
with
way more
Marathon.
colorful than it used to be. Yeah.
Mhm.
One thing I'm
Yep.
disappointed with Marathon is the fact that it seems to be PvP only. I was hoping
Yep.
that there'd be PvE elements in it. I think that's where Destiny stands head and shoulders above a lot of other games. Doing raids,
doesn't
doing
seem-
strikes with your friends, just is a lot of fun to me.
It doesn't seem to be PvP. It's been actually officially like commented on that it is a PvP shooter. There is no campaign in it whatsoever. They're sick and tired of trying to fool you with the story. They just want to quickly separate you from your money. So it's time. It's time
Yeah,
for that
but
world.
No
in
campaign
saying
for
that-
me is automatic no purchase, or at least no investment in this case.
I'm with you, sir. If you do not respect my time with at least trying to take me out to dinner first, aka campaign, then I'm not playing your multiplayer shooter.
I suppose how many people play Destiny for the PvP aspect of it. I would suggest that more people play for the PvE aspect of it, in saying that there would be direct competition for Destiny if they did it any other way. So I guess they're just trying to split those two franchises.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do. They have done great PvP, Pete. We're talking about Halo here. So, I agree with that sentiment. Kay, absolutely. Take me out to dinner before you bed me over. Gerald Mack with a $10 super chat says, PlayStation is going through gas games transition, which they have to be tactful, because the Sony fan base is truly fragile. Oh, we saw that. And the showcase made them. Their loyalties to the brand. Yeah, so I think what he's saying is they basically shadow over their own fans. But they've been warming up their fans for a while now with that. So I sort of... Yeah, I sort of... It is a surprise, right? Because we always thought... I think everyone's been saying... I think, Kay, I've heard you say it, Umbra, Jedi. I don't think we had... We all sort of thought, yeah, they're going to go these gas games, but they're never really going to stop these big single-player... third-person action adventure sort of games, and we really didn't see much of that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know what,
the thing
Riskit?
with Riskit is it looks like they're actually telling their developers what game to make. And one thing that Xbox has been really good with, and Phil keeps saying, is he wants the developers to make whatever game they want. So if they have a creative ambition, then go for it. He really wants them to do that. Whereas
Good point,
Jim
Pete.
Ryan seems to be just pushing games as a service now. So are these developers actually making the games that they want to make, or are they being pushed towards that?
Yeah,
That is
absolutely.
a
True,
really
Pete.
great point.
And a
Yeah.
great
Yeah, no,
example of
because-
that is Redfall. Sorry, dude. Go.
Nah, it's all good.
Everyone's
No,
just
I
like,
agree.
"What?"
I agree with that point, though. I think that is a fair point. That it seems to be like a what's the word I'm looking for here? And I almost said motto, but it seems to be can I get the word out of my head, guys? But it seems to be a directive, I guess, that they had to make gas titles. And I think the thing that surprised me most was that they showed so many at once. I think that was the bigger thing. I think if they would kind of did a slower drip and show maybe 2
Mission
during the
statement.
showcase, mission statement, that's a good one too. But directive, I think, works. But I think if they would have shown maybe 1 or 2 during the showcase, along with the games that PlayStation fans are used to and we're used to seeing from them, I think it would have fed well better. But I think seeing 4 or 5 of them during the showcase and not seeing any actual gameplay, I think hurt it more so, including Square's little bubble game, the Foam Stars. But I would also add this to it as well. I think that they missed the boat last gen. I think if they were to try to get into that field with gas titles a generation before, it probably would have been an easier pill for the PlayStation fan base to swallow.
Yeah, absolutely. I do got to move on with these questions and the super chats, but yeah, I mean they did warm up their fans, but I guess you've got to cadence that sort of positive negative sandwich, right? I mean MBG was almost in tears, but if you'd given him another God of War, if you'd given him a Last of Us, he'd have something. Poor guy's broken. Gonna move on to the next malicious munch. He wrote, question is, compared to what we have seen, how bad was Final Strike's games before it was cancelled? Yeah, that's an interesting question. Maybe they had a disagreement about the direction that they wanted to go as well. That was the Call of Duty, if I'm not mistaken, the Call of Duty sort of clone. So yeah, it would be interesting to see what that was like. But unfortunately, PlayStation don't usually open the doors and let us know what's going on behind the scenes. So we won't get that. Hopefully, we'll get the behind the scenes of Redfall. That would be interesting. Mark from the Just Gaming podcast with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Peter is the only sensible one. Lol. Brand association is what the show gave Sony. Most games purchased are third party on each console. Yes. It just sounds like you're clip-clopping around and making nay sounds to me, Mark.
Yeah, that don't make any sense what he just said. How is that brand association seeing all third-party games that we gonna get on Xbox?
Hey.
And just because you agree does not mean that his. Of course. But listen, also just because you agree doesn't mean that all of our takes were not reasonable. You just don't agree.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And look. Yeah, Mark, I sort of get what you're saying, but you've also, and this is a mistake that publishers, platform holders, Xbox themselves, PlayStation in the past, is you do need to look after your core fan base. Not even first, but you do need to look after them. And so giving them what they expect is, one of what they expect with Spider-Man, it just doesn't do it. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a dire showcase for gamers. It was definitely dire if you're a PlayStation only sort of fan. Only fan?
Yeah,
Anyway.
Look, Phantom Blade Zero looked excellent. It looks, and I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later, Umbra, but I can't see anywhere that that's coming to Xbox. I've looked pretty extensively, and I know that you said it's actually being published by S-Game. Yeah,
they have come out and saying that although they're publishing on PS5 and PC, they have no exclusivity agreement on PS5. So it's basically Xbox, pick up the phone.
That's right. That's why I posted on that tweet earlier. I said, hey, Phil, bro, you see this? I said, you all need to get on this. So it's no exclusivity. PlayStation is not publishing it. They are free market. They are out there to be brought over to Xbox as well. Now the problem is
that game looks great.
The problem is about it though, Pete, is that they're saying that it only started development supposedly a year ago. For it to look like that is how does it look that way just this fast? So was it actually real gameplay we saw? That's the bigger question right there.
Well, I don't know. It was a game that used to be a mobile game, Rainmakers or something like that. And don't forget, Bright Memory Infinite was also developed by one guy and done very quickly. So, I don't know, these Chinese developers seem to be pretty damn good at what they're doing. Like I said, the game looked fantastic. I think if you hadn't seen Final Fantasy 16 before, that game looked really good as well. So, I'm more looking at from a PlayStation
You thought it looked good?
perspective.
You thought it looked good?
Not for me personally, but then that name just stands head and shoulders above so many other Japanese RPGs. And although I don't personally like them, I think the game looks sensational. And Spider-Man was gaming at its best to me. I know the game, when you look at it...
Oh, sorry, you're being serious. My bad.
When you look more closely at it, yes, you can see its flaws, but watching it on the actual showcase, it looked phenomenal. And, that's in 1080p. It's not showing, the best it possibly could. I think it was in 30 frames as well, but you can see that there is some ray tracing in there. So, yeah, look, from a casual PlayStation perspective, I think there was still a little bit there.
That's a spicy meatball!
I disagree.
All right, we got to take this.
Someone's got to take that shit away
Yeah.
from
Who
you.
got that new soundboard, man? Somebody got a new soundboard. Clearly.
Oh, this isn't new. This has been a month
actually-
now.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is
Sunday.
actually
that's
about
true, yeah,
3
yeah.
weeks, bro, and he's still.
Yeah, we've been
hasn't
putting up with
gone-
this. Please save us, please.
The
Oh,
worst ones are the
beauty.
super loud ones, like that Leroy.
Sorry.
It's not my birthday.
Oh,
Yeah, look, I am having fun with the soundboard. I can't deny it. Yeah, and I've added a couple of things, and I like it. I think I've improved upon the show. I don't think PlayStation did that. They suck. But I did have one more question that I wanted to read out. But Mac, I do want to read that out, but that sort of takes us into a bit of another realm. So I will circle back to you, and we'll talk about this in a minute. Mac asks how much you think the handheld will cost for the PS5. I'm guessing around 300, 350 US, which is around about 600 Australian. I don't care how much it
That's
costs
how much it'll
because I ain't buying a fucking.
Really? 600?
I'm not buying a cloud-enabled
reckon?
remote play handheld. That's why would I do that?
If you're at home, why wouldn't you just jump on your PlayStation 5 and play that?
You can
Really?
remote
You
play.
know what?
You can remote play. Like say you could be in I don't know somewhere else in the city with Wi-Fi, and you can have it linked to your console. As Umbra actually pointed out with Xbox, you can do this.
You know what?
You can remote play from quite a distance, so it doesn't have to be at home. But it seems like a lot of money for that feature. Sorry, cutie.
Oh, good. I actually had one lovely content creator, Lishi, on Twitter. She never, ever posts her like disappointment or opinion or anything about, the announcements and things like that from games. But she actually talked about why they have a PS5 handheld when they have the PlayStation backbone. And she was looking at it and she was like, first of all, why they bring it out. Secondly, it does the same thing. The screen's no better than the iPhone that you have these days. Like, why is this a need anyway? So I thought that was really interesting that someone who had come from a non-console warring background, someone who just does tech reviews, like she works with JBL exclusively, and like she thought that this was a big deal. So, and I don't know, I think it's going to be more than $600 because the ROG is $1,200. So, and it is Sony. Like, I think it's going to be more than that.
For me, I think it'll
Oh,
probably
someone
be more.
subscribed.
Okay.
Oh, thank
I think
you, Malicious Munch, for subscribing. Much appreciated, brother.
I think it'll probably be like 250 to 300, maybe.
Considering
Nah.
it's a controller cut in half with a pad in between it, you wouldn't want it to be too much more than that.
Yeah, maybe 300. I'll say 300. How about that? What about you, Kay? What do you think that price will land at? Since you are the handheld aficionado here.
Honestly, to me, I want to see what's in it first, because the outside obviously is the outside. They always fool you with the outside, but what's inside is what matters, right? And like I heard the comparisons to the ROG Ally. This is absolutely no comparison to the ROG Ally. That thing's an actual computer in your hands. This is basically a screen and the bare minimum just to get that screen to remote play to your device, right? Who is it for? It's for someone like me. How much is it? Who knows?
I would say,
why do I
okay,
say
I
for
would
someone-
say, I would say it's the opposite than someone like you. I would say it's for someone who doesn't
no.
know any better. But yeah.
Well, but see, this is my point. The reason why I'm saying it's for someone like me is because clearly we don't have the telemetry that they do about how many people remote play to their devices. But I can tell you, I've remote played to my PS5 with my G Cloud device, with my Steam Deck, on my PC. I've remote played to my PS5 on many occasions for many different reasons. So I suspect that's probably where this is coming from, right? They have a lot of data saying a lot of people, possibly like me, are doing this thing. So even though the normals may not see it as useful, there's probably enough data there that makes it go, they might be enticed to buy this thing if we make it. Now that price point will be the deciding factor, right? The biggest comparison to this thing, well, except for the Wii U, I'm sorry, I had to do it. The biggest comparison to this thing is most likely the G Cloud, right? Except the G Cloud has an independent operating system. So you can actually just take the G Cloud on the go and use it like an independent tablet, whereas this thing is stuck at your house. So honestly, we'll see about the price point, right? You tell me this thing is $99, it flies out the house. It flies off shelves. People will buy it because it's Sony. Sony makes things that look pretty. This looks like it's pretty. It looks very primitive in the we've cut a controller in half and like stitched the screen to it, but it looks beautiful in its execution. So if it's cheap and it looks nice, people will buy it. Based on the functionality that they've shown, if that's all the functionality it has and it's anything more than $150, it's DOA in my humble opinion.
Yeah, so that's I wouldn't be paying any more than I wouldn't even pay 50 for it, man. Fuck that. Like, why would I get this thing? I do not understand.
What I think upsets a lot of people, Riskit, is they come from the PSP or the PS Vita. You know, they come from really great handheld pedigree, and for them to then put something like this out, I just think throws shade at those people that are craving a handheld from Sony.
Yeah,
well,
yeah. I mean,
from a business perspective, they can't make a Vita. Like, I love my Vita. I'm literally staring at it right now. From a business perspective, they just cannot make another one. Right? They can't. I'm very eager to learn what operating system is running on this thing because they only have two. They have the one that runs on their consoles, and they have the one that used to run on the Vita. Right? And the one that used to run on the Vita is a full-fledged operating system that you have to develop for. That's not what's running on this thing. Right? They've thrown that idea out the way. So what's running on this thing? Right? I wish it made business sense for them to make a Vita that looks like that thing, all screened with controllers attached to it. That'd be a unique idea. I just don't think we need more information. I just don't think that it makes business sense.
Yeah, Grey Monad in the chat says a handheld or a hand job. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question.
The jury's still out on that one.
Look, we do have to sort of move forward a little bit. We are going to take sort of baby steps through these topics today. Before we do, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you are new here. My little subscribe thingy worked. Thanks, Umbra. It was great at now. I saw Umbra's little subscribe thing. I'm like, oh man, I should have that because I don't know when people subscribe. It literally doesn't tell you until 3 days later that someone subscribes. So you can't thank them. So thank you. Who was it? The Malicious Munch for subscribing. Really appreciate it. Absolute champion. And this sort of we'll sort of move into the next topic. That's the sort of the same topic. Is why was this so bad? Why did they do that? They must have known, right? You can't be that blind to what your core gamers want. You can't be that. And look, I think they are more than Xbox is. But you can't just be that completely out of touch to release a show like this and think it's gonna generate excitement, surprise, and delight their gamers, which he ripped off from Phil Spencer, by the way. The man can't even get his own speeches. He had to money hat a speech from Phil. Anyway, moving on. PlayStation has reportedly held back. Now, I had a conversation with
bullshit.
Yeah, look, I decided a conversation with Infinite last night, and we're sort of back and forthing this. It's a really interesting conversation when you start to drill it down, right? So initially, I was like, I think that this is, believe it was Tom Henderson saying this initially. He was the first to sort of come out, and there was more. And I was like, is this Tom Henderson trying to save face? These insiders, they sort of meat and potatoes is being right about things, right? That's where it really matters to be completely correct. If you're an insider, otherwise, what kind of an insider are you if you get everything wrong, right? So are they trying to save face? Then another insider came out. Now, all of these guys, all of these insiders, usually Jez being one of them, usually on point, absolutely will agree with that. So this could be a case of many things. This could be a case of a bunch of insiders trying to save face, which seems less likely with the amount of them. Or they could be absolutely right, and that PlayStation did hold back. It's a possibility that they did. But why would they? That's the question. Like, if they have, right? We could go back and forth all day on whether we think they did or they didn't. But if they did, why did they hold back? Why would you do that? Your first showcase in 2 years. 3 years into the generation, what is a good reason to hold back? I think ABK is not the reason. And I have been, and honestly, I don't have much of an answer. I'm really interested to hear what the panel's got to say. I'm going to jump to Umbra in a minute because we sort of went back and forth on that. I'm really interested to see what these guys on the panel here and our guests think, because it's an interesting question as to why you would handicap your showcase. Go first. The whole thing doesn't make sense. Now, once you fit all the puzzle pieces together of any sort of investigation, and you look back at the beginning, it doesn't make sense. You look back, it all makes sense. So I'm sure that eventually it will. But Umbra, why do you think that they would do this? It's really odd. If they have done it, let's assume they have. Why would PlayStation do this?
You know, my first real, I think, logical guess was that they were holding off something for Summer Games Fest. You remember when it first popped up, my first thought was, well, Tom Henderson has no dog in the fight. He has no reason to lie about this. He has no reason to come out and say, hey, they held some things back. Nobody pressured him into saying that. He just came out and it said, hey, there were some trailers I saw that I didn't see at the showcase. No, nobody twisted his arm to say that. So my first logical thought was, okay, I believe him. His track record is solid. He has been right many, many times, including this showcase. I'm talking about from Metal Gear, the showcase date, even the device being there. He's been right about all that. He's been right about so many other things too. Summer Game Fest makes the most sense. So I said, it's no reason this guy will sit out here and lie. A lot of people, oh, he's capping, he's damage controlling. No, he hasn't. What is he? He's not a Sony stan. Excuse me, the police are after me now. I guess I'm being a pony right now. They're like, oh no, arrest this fool. But seriously, he had no reason to lie. And then of course we saw the snitch come out and say, hey, there were some trailers that I saw too. Then Jez, yeah, so on and so forth, right? So yeah, to me, and even Special Nick had spoke on it. Our brother Nick, he wasn't denying that there have been times he knows that publishers will hold back trailers and stuff like that for another time. So it's not. It was already logical to me that they would do that. My real guess, and to wrap it up, would be that they would hold it for Summer Game Fest. Now the question would be, should they have done that, seeing how poor their actual conference was? Maybe that's the better question, right? Because maybe they needed to show that there instead of wait for Summer Game Fest.
You think that they would really do that? But Umbra, I can't see that happening. I get that it's happening in a couple of weeks. And look, my biggest problem with showcase and why I thought that they were really going to bring something special is that PlayStation never go first. They always wait to see what Xbox is going to put out and then try and react, and typically they've been excellent at doing that. But they decided to push their showcase out first, which made me believe that they were going to bring something special. Now they're going to have 2 weeks of negative press out there until Xbox has their showcase, and then that will then change the narrative. Really, really interesting to why they went first. They must have known that the show wasn't going to hit.
It's funny though. I think they did have confidence in the show, but you know what's funny though, Pete? We would think the negative press, but it's not that way. The press has been super positive, talking about S tier showcase, A+, perfect 10 out of 10. The media has been lying their ass off for them. So
yeah, the media might have been in the Games Radar article that said even with a few big hitters missing, the PlayStation showcase was almost perfect. It's just a joke. I mean, it just shows you the media bias. Sony paid these guys, hand over fist, and they're shilling out for, the PlayStation fan base. But unfortunately, although the press is on their side this time, the gaming community and the PlayStation community mostly isn't. And that's the first time, like I said before, there actually has been pushback from that community. And I think that that's really, really good to see. So do I think they're holding things back? I really don't know. But I don't think so. The main thing that I really struggle to understand is that Sony have been fantastic at money-hatting IPs, big IPs that have been filling the void for their first-party exclusives because they're lacking a little bit at the moment, and that just wasn't at the showcase. Where were the money-hatted big third-party deals that Sony usually, come up with? None of them were there either. So I don't know, Kay, what do you think, mate?
So let me throw a conspiracy theory in the mix, because unlike folks who've been paying closer attention to this stuff, I haven't really been dealing with it seriously, thinking that they're seriously were holding things back. But as Riskit was asking the question, I was thinking about it. What is the potential for why they would do this? That is not because of ABK, because ABK has been a catch-all for all reasons. Let's assume that's not the case here, right? And of course, the question was asked: why is it they did this and they came first? They literally put their show first, right? So basically, they're setting Xbox up to have a perfect showcase, unless they're not, right? Unless they're goading their competition to come out and show what they have. Hey, we came out first. We stumbled out the gate. The wind is at your back, Xbox. Show us what you got. They come out, because remember, we now live in a world of your own action when it comes to things like showcases and showing your wares, right? Like, they can pull the trigger at any moment. Next week there could be another showcase. A week from now there could be another showcase at any moment. Now
I would agree with that if they had like something to show. Literally, Sarah Bond could walk out in a tight outfit at the Xbox showcase and be better
at any
than
moment.
the PlayStation showcase.
No, but this is my point. But this is my point, Peter. That what you're describing there is exactly why I'm going down this conspiracy theory route. Because not only are they good at this, they have defined this. For my football players out there, for my soccer fans out there, this is like Brazil coming and fumbling the ball, and you're going, "This is Brazil? What happened here?" That's what's happening here. They have defined this space, and now they're fumbling all over the place as if they don't know how to do this, right? So there's two ways to see. Like, I have two thoughts, two minds of this. One mind of it is they're doing this on purpose to goat their competition, because they know Microsoft has been loading up for bear for years now. We've been hearing about the flywheel about to explode with games left and right. So let's go first. Let's take a political hit because we're the market leader, and that means they can take even if we look like crap for like a week or two, we're still PlayStation. We are still the name in gaming. So you guys there's just no choice in it. Y'all are still gonna enjoy us. We take a hit, let them show their wares because they have the wind at their back, and then we know exactly what they're working with. And then the next show we come out with will be a banger. That is one side of the scenario. Here's the other side, and I'll make this one quick. The other side is, I have said this a long time ago when people were like, "Oh, Xbox is crap. Oh, they got nothing." I'm like, and every time anybody wants to bring anything up, they talk about the stupid game that was canceled. They talk about all these past things, and the first thing I always say when it comes to that is, both Microsoft and SIE are the companies in name alone. Just like sports teams, you sell this person, you trade that person. The people who made those decisions have left the building. The name is still there. The logos on the building still there, right? So your love for them is still there. But the people who made "this is how you trade games" thing, they're gone now, right? So maybe, just maybe, the people who are also capable of the E3 of dreams thinking are also gone. And that's what we're seeing here. Right? Maybe this was a genuine fumble.
Yeah,
right?
Could be.
Either it's a malicious fumble, right? Exactly. And Peter, you were saying that too. Like, this is the Jim Ryan era, for good, for better or for worse. This could either be a malicious fumble to kind of goat Xbox into showing what they got, right? Because they've also been waiting for years, right? And then on the flip side, it could be that, hey, they have been riding on their name for a long time because they have been the GOATs for a long time. But a lot has changed in the background. Maybe they are incapable of E3 of dreams anymore. Who knows?
Yeah, look, absolutely. That is a really, really good point. And I loved your take. This is why we love having Kay on the show. And I did post a GIF in our little private chat here of "it's a trap," and it very much could be. Now, Sappho made a great point, and I was actually typing to respond to that. And Sappho, trust me, they have not shown everything they have. Microsoft
and
Xbox.
Who's clip clopping now? This is bullshit.
They have not shown everything that they have, Microsoft. And so if you're Microsoft, right, and you saw that showcase, you're like, "Oh, we got this. right? So maybe we don't need to announce this. But this can work in a couple of ways, right? So if this is what they are doing, if this is what Sony's doing, and I think someone put it up there, a different type of corporate espionage. I think it was Punty. And it could be, guys. It could be, right? But then Microsoft come out and they show us what we've been waiting to see. We see Fable, we see Valve, we see Hellblade. Hey, Hellblade's coming this year. Hey, we've got this coming this year, right? And then say Sony comes back out and they slam down Wolverine on the table coming 2024. And they slam down some other, sad dad walking simulators on the table and like, boom, this is coming. This is coming in 2024 as well, right? This is coming, right? But then Microsoft, if they don't show their hand, they can come back out again at the Keeleys, because we know that they are coming hard at the Keeleys this year. This is
awesome.
This is definitely.
I was going to let that one ride, but yes, pause indeed.
You know what? I was going to let it slide at first, but then he did some earlier that I didn't call out. He had a few of them back to back that I was like, I'm going to be mature here.
So let's
let it slide.
Let's say they then show up at Game of the Year, because that's what that's very likely what they're gonna do. This could be a back and
that
forth.
Goes to Mark's question. What do you think they'll show?
That this could be a back and forth that we see, and I'm here for it. If this is the case, I would prefer that than Sony just shit the bed, because really that's what this showcase is, right? They just shit the bed hard, right? So, like, I mean, really, that's what happened. Like, it's like, holy shit! Like, exactly like Kay said, these guys are the masters of this. These guys are the kings of showing up to a showcase and showing out hard and creating hype for years. They do it for years.
Risk it. These guys are the ones. They are the masters of making you drool over a JPEG or a GIF. They are kings of the gift rule. And even they couldn't do that this time. I mean, come on now.
With the whole
going on.
Something is. So, it does feel like something's going on. And I'll jump to you, Umbra, in a minute. And then we definitely got to go to Cutie, because I'm interested to see what she has to say.
Go to her first. Definitely go to her first. I was going to ask about her.
But like, being the kings of this, it does. And we've had multiple insiders come out and say the same thing. And ones that I believe are reputable. If it's just Tom, if it's just Jez, if it's just, like one of these insiders, okay, maybe you could sort of put that aside and go, all right, maybe they're just trying to save face. But it's multiple insiders confirming this, and ones that I believe are trustworthy. And so I think they are holding something up their sleeve. And if they do this, then it's going to be a slugfest of Sony comes out with a shit showcase. Microsoft comes out with a banger. Sony hits back. Microsoft hits back. That is only good for gaming. I would love to see that, Cutie. Do you think, one, that they did hold back? And two, if you do think that they held back, why do you think they held back?
You guys are talking in an echo chamber, honestly. Like, honestly, I don't think they're holding anything back. I don't think they have anything. I think this is an L for them. Gaming is still good, and it always has been and always will be. And I think that Xbox was always going to nail the Summer Games Fest. They always were going to. We knew this already. And it doesn't matter how many insiders you talk to, or how many, insider tweets, go out there. You guys are all whispering to one another. It's all Chinese whispers out there. And you know what? The proof will be in the pudding. When we see what is there at Summer Games Fest, that's when we will know.
I do have to question. I'm going to question that. You said we're talking in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
We are talking in an echo chamber because we're Xbox guys, right? This would be something that would be in defense of Sony. So this wouldn't be something that comes out of an echo chamber. This would be, if it was, it would be a Sony echo chamber. So how do you mean we're talking in an echo chamber? I'm just curious.
I mean, you're talking in an echo chamber of saying, oh, well, them holding back. They're definitely going to. This was done to bait Microsoft to either think, oh yeah, everything is okay, we got this in the bag, and then boom, they drop something at their Games Fest.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I hear you, but they're arguing. I don't argue that. I don't think it's all this espionage, and I didn't say what they said either, by the way. But I think what they're alluding to is that it's a smart move by Sony to try to one up Microsoft, and Sony has been known to do that. So I think that's what they were saying. If anything, they'd have been saying something toward pro Xbox, but they're pro PlayStation in this case. I think personally that they're holding off some things to show at the Games Fest, but I don't believe it's necessarily first party. I think it'll be some third party money-headed things. And the reason I say that now with confidence is because we know now that factions won't be there after the news we heard today. So I'm going to guess that it's going to be some third party money-headed stuff, if anything, that we see at the Summer Game Fest.
If Xbox comes out with the show that I think they're going to come out with, and we see Avowed, Fable, maybe even Perfect Dark, Hellblade, and Forza Motorsport, even if Sony hit back, they won't be able to hit back good enough to beat that show. And of course, we're going to get Starfield. So yeah, I get where you guys are coming from, but I think Sony would have just shown everything they had.
But I mean, when you hear say a Windows Central, I think he's editor, right? Jez is the editor, and an Xbox guy, like one of the Xbox, known personalities, say the reason I've had interest in PlayStation so much lately is because of what I've seen behind the scenes. You don't think they're going to hit back with something, Pete? I mean, that's a pretty that's a huge.
I really don't. And I really think that we are living in the age of Jim Ryan, where he is promoting games as a service. Now, look, there are games that are going to be there. We know we're going to get Ghost of Tsushima 2. We know we're going to get Cory Barlog's from Sony Santa Monica. I think I got it wrong on the fix the other day, so I want to correct myself. We know we're going to get Naughty Dog's next game. These are all going to be fantastic games, but we've got to give them time to make them. And so these games are coming, but look, it was always going to be, and I said this on the fix as well, it was always going to be incredibly difficult this generation for Sony to compete against Microsoft's slated first-party studios. There's just so much more of them. Now, Xbox haven't proven themselves by any stretch of the imagination, but the sheer volume of development studios they have now, it's going to be very difficult for Sony to keep up. And they have been buying studios here and there, and we're yet to see, any of that come to fruition. But look, I stand by what I said. I don't think Sony are holding anything back. I get that Jez Gordon and Tom Henderson, two very reputable people, have said that they haven't shown everything, but look,
that's a massive that's a huge affirmation, dude. Though, for Jez to say that he's been very interested in PlayStation later because what has he seen behind the scenes, huge ass affirmation. That says to me that they are holding something decently sized back. Whether they'll be able to come back against Microsoft, who knows? But Hargeet made a very interesting point as well. He also said, well, with this ABK stuff going on, they've already seen each other's roadmaps. So, I mean, maybe that's part of the chess game as well. It's like, hey, we're not showing this yet because you might see the roadmap. But again, Hargeet, you've also got to remember that this is game development, and that may be the predicted roadmap. But it may be just the hopeful roadmap because we don't know. Like they might absolutely fuck up like Naughty Dog has with their multiplayer game. Pardon my language, and I am going to move on to the next topic, which we sort of did touch on. But before I do, guys, please hit that like button. If you are new here, hit the subscribe button. I've got a new little thingy. It will sound like this. I just wanted to do that. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. Soundboards.
Is that the diamond version?
That's
not the diamond. That's the regular one.
I just got another achievement, guys.
Yeah. Look, we do have some questions and some super chats from the people in the chat. So you guys are absolutely amazing. Really appreciate it. And Kay, that was a fantastic point and a fantastic conspiracy theory. Someone said it was Everborn saga worthy. So, I mean, that was.
Oh boy.
Oh no. He's rubbed off on you. Pause.
Damn it.
That is high praise.
Thank you there, Umbra.
There was one good point made by somebody in the chat. Let me see if I can find them really fast.
Was that rubbed up on or rubbed up against?
BC McNasty, he said they could. He said they could show Death Stranding 2 there. That's a fair point. They actually could show that there.
That's going to do more damage than it would good. Look, I'm going to get these super chats and move on to the next topic, which again we did touch on. I do want to go over this, and I'm going to bring it up on screen so you're going to get a bit of a look into the background of Xbox Infinite. Udani Quazada, sorry I missed your super chat earlier, mate. My bad, Pete. Thank you for pointing that out to me. Said GT Gran Turismo film, just getting them ready for 24 FPS games. I should have read that first because that actually made me laugh out loud. Udani, keep bringing that fire, dude. You're hilarious. Malicious Munch, a new subscriber to the channel, said, question, do you think this is a different show to what was meant to be shown? Reason there was an adaptive controller in the show that actually wasn't shown was in the highlight reel. Yeah, so they might have cut some things. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe last minute. That's a possibility. Always is with game development that, hey, like, we're just not going to make this deadline that we had, and so we're not going to show it. And they might have pulled something out last minute, absolutely. Mark from the Just Gaming podcast, he asked a question. He said, Sony shows a lot of third party at Showcase, still slated to be at the Games Fest. What do you think they're going to sow there? I think he meant show. I don't think he meant a female pig, but if they do show some female pigs, that is a prediction. I will definitely give you a W for. Look, there's a lot there. If you've looked at the games list, we talked about it in the last show. There is a lot of publishers there with a lot of games coming. 2023 has been the year. I think 2024 and 2025 are going to continue to be the best years in gaming. So I'm excited what they're going to show there. You'll have to jump back to that last show. We've already run, I think, around about an hour and a half. And so I've got another half an hour to get through about 5 topics. So I'm doing my best. Vic the Click with the $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Vic. He said, Sony just Amber Heard the hell out of their fans' bed. Yeah. I think that means they shit the bed, which they did. Mark asked a question as well from Just Gaming Podcast. He said, what if they show a Bloodborne remaster? Yeah, I think a lot of people were waiting for that. I think Pete would probably shit the bed as well if he saw that coming. So that's for Souls fans, that was high on the list and unfortunately just wasn't there. I don't know if they'll get a Bloodborne remaster. I don't know. I don't know what
would be good.
So
Bloodborne 2 would be amazing, and it would really be a mic drop moment, and that would get the whole industry talking. I mean, that's one of the best games ever made. Can I see it happening? No, because from the only way I see Bloodborne 2 ever being made is if Sony sell the IP back to From Software, because quite frankly, From Software can go into any direction they want now. That they have built upon a reputation that, if they didn't put a game out onto Xbox now, they would upset half their fan base.
Absolutely. Kay.
So real quick, while I don't necessarily subscribe to my own conspiracy theory that it's being malicious, here's a point in the malicious to the malicious camp on that, right? So when all the news broke and the showcase showed up, Tom Henderson basically took himself a nice little victory lap because of Project Q, right? Because he obviously leaked that. And in doing so, he also said, hey, for all those who are giving me crap about the PS5 Pro rumors coming later this year, here we go. With that in mind, right? With that in mind, that tells you that there could be a PlayStation showcase later this year where they show you said PS5 Pro. And oh, by the way, at that time, of course, Microsoft would have already have come and gone and shown all their wares, right? You baited them. It's a trap and all that.
Did you say come and gone?
And there's where you stop it. There's where you show your Bloodborne remake in addition to your new hardware later in the year. There's where you show, what you would have maybe kept close to the vest beforehand. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. Not saying I even believe that, but if that is the train they're on, they definitely do have another opportunity to show you more stuff because they do have new hardware coming if Tom Henderson is to be believed. And that's coming this year too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, look, if that does come, and it'll be a massive W for PlayStation, but also a massive W for me because Pete's knees will be on my wall.
Well, Xbox announced their Series consoles. I think the Series X at the Keylist, didn't they? The Game Awards. Yeah,
well, at least the Series X, at least. By the way, I would also get one of your kneecaps because I agreed with Risk that they would have a mid-gen.
See, this is the problem with you guys. See, Riskit really needs his kneecaps back because he's lost them, but I never actually bet anything.
He definitely did.
So I don't know where all this bull garbage is coming from.
I'm going to have to go back and look at the show because we did. You did definitely bet those knees. We've got to move on to the next topic. Again, if you're new here, subscribe. Hit the like button if you aren't. Share us out. Let a friend know. The media bias is something that I want to talk about here. And look, this is just like shill level media bias. So these are some of the articles that came out. Even with a few big hitters missing, the PlayStation Showcase was near perfect. A few big hitters. I think every big hitter was missing. And then there was another one that came out with and I'll just, I can't zoom in on this. I did want to zoom in on this, but I'll make it a little bit bigger. This is the IGN news director. And she came out with this after the show. And she said, Sony will have a major tentpole release next year. I mean, they're not Xbox. Dying laughing emoji. So there's a lot of media bias going on after the show, as you guys sort of alluded to earlier in the thing. I think Umbra was saying, like they wouldn't want this sort of negative press, I think, or might have been Kay. But it seems they're not really getting the negative press. That said, it is just a couple of sites that have sort of been behaving about this. And I just wanted to, again, call it out because, look, every time I do call out media bias, I get pushback from a lot of the community, from Bobby Hawk's side of the community, saying media bias, there's no media bias, blah, 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 blah. If there's media bias, it's against PlayStation, which is just fucking ridiculous. So yeah, look, I did just want to call that out. We don't have a lot of time left, so I want to jump ahead. But yeah, look, as far as it goes with media bias, I'm a little bit tired of it. I really am. I think the media needs to pull its socks up, start acting professional. But in one of the tweets that I posted to Games Radar, I posted that article, was like, well, I appreciate you guys, sending all of your clicks our way to content creators that can actually have a conversation about these things with integrity. So, yeah. Well, we'll move on because there was something very interesting with the EU and Activision and Blizzard deal. And we'll just touch on this very, very quickly. And this sort of came by Florian Mueller. He said the European Commission officially confirms it has been in touch with the regulators in the UK, but also Canada, US, Australia, and New Zealand about the deal. A diplomatic dig at the CMA, the EU remedy has been celebrated by developers, by cloud gaming providers, by its distributors, and of course also by consumer groups. So he's talking about NVIDIA and Boosteroid. Which leads me to my second point, our assessment, the divergence of the CMA government. Occasionally, we reach decisions that are not aligned with every other jurisdiction. So I'd like to take a few moments to set out why we believe the Activision Blizzard merger with appropriate remedies is not only compatible with the single market, but in fact represents a positive development. No one doubts that this was a landmark transaction in gaming. Gaming is a dynamic market that impacts millions of consumers in Europe. So the deal deserved a thorough investigation. We looked at impacts on gamers today and in the future and whether they play on PC, console, or on their phones. We focused on the development of the cloud streaming network, which will play an increasing role in how consumers access games. That's a bit of a bone of contention. I don't know about that. An important finding was that overall market share for Microsoft and Activision was generally low in Europe. And it's only when you look at specific segments like shooter games that you get it to above 20%. And for consoles, Sony sells about 4 times more PlayStations than Xbox sells. With this in context, we did not think the merger raised a vertical issue. I am told Call of Duty is a very popular shooter franchise, but we found that Microsoft would probably not shoot itself in the foot by stopping sales of Call of Duty games to the much larger PlayStation player base. Our colleagues at the CMA agreed with us and ultimately reached the same conclusion. There is a lot here, and I'm just going to read the next paragraph, and then we'll jump to the panel and see what your thoughts are. Where we did have concerns was in cloud gaming. Still a nascent. If you don't know what nascent means, it means fledgling. It means something that really hasn't taken off. It's still a nascent market, but one we expect to grow because it offers many advantages for gamers. For one, it enables gamers to untie games from specific devices, and that means more accessibility at a lower cost. So cloud gaming deserved an in-depth assessment. And this was a common concern because, like us, the CMA focused on this market. I'm going to come back to that a little bit later. But Kay, I do want to go to you. They did not have to come out and explain their decision any further. They'd made their decision. They'd made their explanations as to why they came to this decision, and their explanations were solid and sound. Their focus on cloud gaming for me isn't solid and sound, but I think they came to the right decision in the end. So, Kay, what were your thoughts on the EU coming out? Why do you think they even did this? Do you think they sort of wanted to point out some inadequacies of the CMA's investigation?
Yeah, honestly, and I'll keep this brief because there's still so much more ABK stuff to go. So I feel like we all need to pace ourselves. So I'm not gonna quote unquote blow the load here. Pause. But I will say that I feel like all the moves being made right now are showing that up until now they've had basically a boring job, right? They're calling areas more often than not. No one's paying attention, no one's caring, but in this instance it's become a very much a hot button.
Yeah, look, I'm having some audio issues. Sorry, Kay, I don't know if you can hear me, but the guys are saying his mic is dying.
My mic is dying. Can you guys hear me?
I hear you just fine.
I didn't think we would come up.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I hear you guys fine.
Bobby, Mark.
His mic sounds like he's about to die. Okay.
Sounds like
Whose mic is this, please? Is it Mike? Is it mine, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, Kay's mic is messed up.
Okay, is this yours, brother?
He says it sounds like he's about to fly to Atlantic City on a helicopter.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Let me. How about you come back to me? Let me sign out and sign back in. Say staticking like crazy. I'll be right back.
All right,
brother. Okay, so look, I suppose I'll go. You guys are all gone. Look, the like you said, Riskit, the EU did not need to come back and make a statement at all. Their decision was their decision, but what they said was absolutely fantastic, and I loved how she closed. Games for this instead of blocking the merger, and if they consider the
Yeah, guys, it seems like I'm having some audio issues. I don't know what's going on here, but let me just jump in and out and see if I can fix this up.
Yeah, it's such a stream is down.
Video that of your gameplay.
Yep.
Guys, if you hear us talking at all, just let us know, okay?
And testing 1 2. I should be back.
I don't think it was you.
It's not UK. It's not. It's Riskit, if you can, mate.
Yeah, I'm here, and I'm just playing in the background. Hopefully, I've got everyone back. Have we got everyone back now? Nope. Oh, boy. Sorry, guys. I am working in the background to get this happening again. Just give me a few minutes. I'm going to drop that from there. Okay, you guys should be back there. I don't know if you guys are talking. Let me just jump to this. Man, the update is a very bad thing. So, guys, if you can still hear me, obviously, but recently I updated my OBS, and I was sort of hoping that we wouldn't have any dramas. And unfortunately, we are having some dramas. So I'm just doing some stuff in the background to see if I can fix it up. No more bad PlayStation talk or else. Yeah, it's probably that Jim Ryan's come and take a massive shit on us. Is what's going on.
Jim, I said, what if Jim's listening? You got Ryan.
I think I got you back.
So no one can hear us. Just risk it, right? No one
Don't
can hear
feel
us.
too confident. Say something crazy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fuck PlayStation.
Good, good. No, I'm not gonna say that.
Okay, Asante said-
Why am I dropping
That's
Yeah.
something.
audio?
I think we're back now. It looks like Grace
Okay.
says.
Yeah, the
Yes, sir.
video is still skipping, man. So I don't think so.
Oh, y'all just missed a huge serenading. You know, Infinite Umbra was doing it. It was a beautiful thing. We all just threw virtual.
Yeah, I think this is an issue with the game footage jumping in on the audio. So I'm trying to sort that out, and hopefully I should have you all back right about now. You guys talking? Oh my god.
Audio
Yeah.
footage.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing that right
We
now,
are.
Hunty.
See,
Oh.
good thing we didn't tell you about all those insider
Yeah,
things
you all
that
missed out,
Riskit was
man.
talking about. You know.
We got
We're
you
still
back.
Downloading nugget pawns as midgets with our arms and legs. What the hell, man?
I got you back, boys. I got you back. All good. I think. No, it's dropped out again. What the hell is going on?
It seems like we're having issues.
China.
China.
All
Don't
right.
blame
Yeah,
me
you
for
definitely
this.
got some sound back there.
Blame
Yeah,
China.
look, Punty's heard in some of the stuff that I'm saying.
Testing 1, 2. Y'all hear us? If you hear us, give us a thumbs up in the chat, please, so we know if we're active or not.
Yeah,
was
man,
thinking
you
that
guys got
OBS,
to
bro.
really let us know where we're at because
I was thinking this was OBS too.
Yeah, I think it
Yep.
is as well.
Got it.
OBS, man, it's a pain in the butt.
Mhm.
You guys there?
Splendiferous. He's hearing us. Audio's better now. Oh,
Okay, I think it
I'm
might be
seeing
better.
it. Yeah, good deal.
Oh man, this is not a fun time. Deaf, blind, and mute, says Bobby.
Yeah, people hear us.
all right, we're
I
getting
think we're
thumbs up
good.
from
We're
Monad
good.
now. So what we
Yeah.
did is we changed the video playing. So please let us know. Okay, the video's
Convinced that IGN's coming after you.
That should be working.
Stop talking all that. Stop
So I
talking all
should
that.
definitely
IGN
have you
slander.
guys back.
all right. So the video is playing better now. Risk to be.
Okay.
You hear us?
No.
I
Mate?
mean, on my
they're
side,
still not
it's
back.
Still skipping.
Okay.
On my side, it's still skipping the video.
I do not know what's going on here. I got absolutely full bars. Everything's sort of running sweet on this end. Stream health is. Oh.
Well, how much time do we have left anyway, Risk? Could just end the stream if it's causing too many issues for now.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. I don't know what the hell's going on with the connection there. Let me just try one more thing.
Indeed.
I've got you guys back, so these guys should be out of here.
All right.
Yeah.
Monad's giving us a thumbs down and a thumbs up at the same time, so I'm guessing we're still skipping in and out.
Yeah.
All right, Mark says we're good.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Must be a internet sort of thing. You're back! We are back!
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
All right, we're back. We're back.
Shattered our eardrums.
Yeah, we're back.
How's the eardrums,
Yeah.
boys?
All right, we're getting thumbs up from everyone.
They're coming back. They're coming back. All right.
Gosh
Oh,
dang
thank
it.
Christ.
Wait, Where
What
were we
we
at?
talking about again?
We're talking about the EU. And yeah, I do apologize for that, guys. There must have been something going on in the background. The video is still skipping. I will sort that out as we go. Don't worry. And I will hook it up to whatever I got to hook it up to and do whatever I got to do. But that was a really weird. I had to switch headsets and did a whole bunch of shit in the background. But let's get back into it. So, Kay, again, I'm going to jump back to you and say, why do you think the EU came out and decided that they were going to respond to the CMA's decision?
I think it's because a lot more people are paying attention right now. That's why. I think it's because for a while now they've been allowed to do their business unimpeded, quietly in the background, boring, no big deal. And now you have a lot of folks paying attention, and when decisions are being made that don't necessarily sound good, right, and they don't sound logical, they're being asked to prove themselves, and they're being asked to explain their decision-making processes. And you say cloud gaming, and a lot of the cloud users, myself included, go, "What are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about," right? So I think because of the pressure of the zeitgeist, the pressure of the community, the court of public opinion is forcing them to come out and justify their existence, right? So, and to be clear, I think that's a good thing. I think all of this is very good because clearly it seemed like they were going to be able to yada 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 business as usual and do what they were doing, CMA and EU and all of that, right? Using BS excuses to say to get one over on the public and basically implement what they wanted. But it looks like because of all that pressure, because of all the eyeballs, because of all the Florian Muellers and the post-ups of the world and everybody drinking deep of all these documents and questioning things, they are now feeling the pressure to have to explain themselves whenever any of these things come out, which in the long run will be a good thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And they definitely, I think the CMA's been extremely curious in the way that they've handled things. Pete, you did want to have a speak on it. I caught a little bit of it when you were dropping in and out, but why do you think the EU has decided to come out now? And
well,
take
I don't
shots?
know. They really didn't need to say anything, to be honest. I think that their opinion is, but what this has been agreed upon, I think, in 34 markets already. The only one that has disagreed with the merger has been the CMA. So they are the outlier when it comes to this. And the head of the EU said something really poignant to me. She said, if you consider the pre-merger situation, Activision doesn't license its cloud games out to anybody. It's and after the merger, they're going to license it out free globally. So that is great for competition. It's great for the emerging market. It benefits basically everybody. So why you would deny this deal is beyond me. And I loved how she ended it. She said, "This is our call to duty." I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Umbra, what were your thoughts on the EU coming out and having a shot basically at the CMA?
I think that Kay made points, and I think Pete made good points, but particularly though, I think it's because the spotlight is kind of on them. So I think they're kind of taking their chance to bask in the glory right now, because I don't think typically they get as much shine as they're getting right now, these regulators. So I think they're like, hey, let's capitalize on this. That's one of the reasons. Two, I think, tinfoil headery style, that maybe the CMA and the EU disagree behind the scenes, and we're just seeing it publicly now. Maybe they said words behind the scenes, because you see the CMA responded after the EU's decision, and they'd had no reason to do so. So to me, it seems like maybe they've had words behind the scenes, and now the EU is, the head of the EU is coming out and just really kind of trashing them in a more diplomatic way. That's my take from it. Honestly, I don't think I have much more to add to it, but I think that's really what it is. I think they may have had disagreements behind the scenes. And I'll add one more thing. I think that also that since we've seen the heads of the parliament and such in the government kind of stepping in, maybe there's been some words pointed out to the EU from them where they've been backed by the government. I believe the government is specifically on the side of this acquisition getting passed. It has been clear from what we saw in Parliament that they were not on the CMA side, and I think most people are against the CMA here. And I would wager, like I said, that there's been backroom discussions where they've disagreed, and it kind of just leaked into the online situation. That would be my guess.
Yeah, look, and there's a massive conflict of interest there as well. I think D-Batch put a really good video out there where there was uh, there was a
Rafferty,
lawyer that worked for Sony that
yes, Rafferty.
now,
That's what you're talking about.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that now is one of the key decision makers at the CMA, and that is a massive conflict of interest. And I think there was also a firm that worked for Google that then is now doing work for the CMA. So I really don't like the look of that. It just it screams conflict of interest to me. I think that this deal is going to be looked at. So Microsoft, as of today, has put their appeal through. It's going to start to be looked at on the 30th of May. So yeah, there's definitely more coming soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so you guys know, I think I have fixed the issue in the back end. And I think my SSD was starting to cook. I had taken it out of my previous PS5. So maybe that was the issue. Had it hooked up to my computer. So yeah, the
It
magic
rejected
of,
it.
yeah.
It rejected your computer because it wasn't greatness.
No,
Yeah.
I think the
Put
SSD is
it
just
back where it belongs.
not all it's cracked up to be. Let's be honest. Cutie, look, I will jump back to onto this topic hard now that I'm not juggling 500 things in the background. What were your thoughts on the EU coming out and having a crack at the CMA, and then under all this as well, guys? You sort of have to remember there's that the I can't remember the name of the committee that sat down with the CMA and questioned them about the ABK deal and other things. Alluded to the fact that they've been colluding with the FTC, and maybe that the CMA blocked the deal so the FTC could use that as evidence in court to push back on this deal. So there's a little bit of that happening behind the scenes as well. Cutie, do you think the EU is trying to highlight the fact that the CMA is a little bit shady behind the scenes?
No, I think they're highlighting something that we already know, don't you think? I mean, come on, this is big business we're talking about here. And I mean, we care so much about gaming. And, I think for anyone who's, paying attention to the news out there and, the people who are having these conversations behind the scenes, it's kind of obvious that these things happen. And people have their alliances. And I don't think that any one person would be surprised about these at all. But I think people need to get a bit thicker skin and just understand that, what people are going to say. I was going to say a bad word then. People are going to say stuff that, you're not going to always agree with. And especially within business, and people have their own alliances and everything like that. I'm just glad that they mentioned Australia in gaming. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like we always get forgotten out here when it comes to these big business deals and things like that. So yeah, I'm glad these conversations are happening, even if they are backstabbing. And I'm glad that we're made aware of it because yeah, it's crazy out there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I will say about Australia is I have been asked a few questions about this. So if you don't know, Australia has suspended its timeline. Earlier in the week on Boom Show, someone I think was saying that means they've suspended their process. That's not entirely correct. They have not suspended the process. They suspended the timeline. And they'll usually do that.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll usually do that when there is an excess amount of documents and evidence to go through, or they use it as a stalling tactic. And I do believe at this time they are using it as a stalling tactic. And someone said that the Commonwealth countries in the chat, guys, I do try to read everything in the chat. Someone said that the Commonwealth countries will follow the CMA. That's also incorrect. They usually won't. They'll usually follow the biggest capitalist market leader, which is the US. So I personally believe that Australia's sort of waiting on the FTC to see which way they go with it. But if they're smart, and I can't always say this for Australian regulatory bodies, but if they're smart, I think they do better to go with the EU on this one. Moving on to the next topic, guys, I really apologize for the technical difficulties. My PS5 SSD just isn't up to the task. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you are new here, we go live 8 p.m. every Friday, EST. Naughty Dog factions. I wanted to talk about this. We're back to the PlayStation stuff, and I wanted to talk about the KOTOR, the recent news that we've had from KOTOR. And one of the things that we've heard is that PlayStation actually shut the game down and shifted development because And this is partly due to Bloomberg apparently crushed the studio all the news and Sony lost faith. It wasn't cinematic enough. And it wasn't really that, from what we're hearing, it wasn't really that that the game wasn't up to par. It wasn't up to par for what Sony was looking for out of that sort of a game. They were looking for more of a story-driven, narrative, cinematic type game. And then we've heard some news just recently that Bungie had a look at Naughty Dog's factions and were concerned about the longevity of the game. This is not a surprise to me. I'm not surprised at all. And I don't want to be a bot here, but it's going to sound very bot-ish. I mean, Sony don't make multiplayer games. It's something that they don't do. And Naughty Dog is not known for their multiplayer suite of games. They're known for their, their third-person over-the-shoulder action feature. I don't quite agree with someone who I heard this morning say they've only made 2 games and 2 bangers, and that's sort of it. I think Naughty Dog's got a fair few games under their belt, but they have generally been single-player experiences, so I wasn't expecting factions to be good, and I didn't expect a quick development cycle, especially after waiting this long, and I definitely did not expect it to be a banger. But so people are surprised by this. I wasn't very surprised. Pete, were you surprised by the fact that that Naughty Dog's factions was being side-eyed by Bungie, and they were concerned about the longevity?
No, I didn't actually know that Bungie were looking into it, and now I have I was going to tell Umbra in the green room, but I thought he might steal my opinion like he typically does, so I did want to keep it for the show. But, I actually think that they might be keeping factions for the next single-player experience that they're going to come out with. And they did say in that apology that they put out today that they're working on a single-player experience, and that really did catch my eye. That suggests to me that, they're not going to put it out as a fully fledged experience. It should have come out alongside The Last of Us 2. I think that they really made a big mistake there, and they're trying to correct that right now. I don't think it can stand alone as its own game. It was very good with The Last of Us, and it was a fun game, but I don't think it stands on its own 2 feet. So releasing it with another single player experience, I think would be the right way to go. And in regards to the KOTOR thing, I don't think Aspire are the team to go for KOTOR. I don't know how you make KOTOR and not make it a cinematic experience. That makes no sense to me. I think that is a massive fail, and I've read a few articles today that suggest that KOTOR could be the next Scalebound. That's really, really sad news. I do want to see it eventually come out.
Yeah, look, I would love to see KOTOR fail and then laugh at. I mean, I would love to see KOTOR succeed. It would be an absolute W for the industry. Kay, what were your thoughts? Because we did talk about this in the green room, and we sort of tried to pull it back so we could get your fresh thoughts. I believe Umbra was trying to steal your takes on this. Do you want to give us your take on this? And I will say as well, before you do go, The Last of Us fans, we know many of you have been looking forward to hearing more about our Last of Us multiplayer game. We're incredibly proud of the job our studio has done thus far. Well, doesn't seem like it, you're not showing it. But as development, I mean, they did show a screenshot, so that's enough. But as development has continued, we've realized what is best for the game is to give it more time. Our team will continue to work on the project as well as our other games in development, including a brand new single-player experience. We look forward to reskinning The Last of Us. We look forward to sharing more soon. We're grateful to our fantastic community for your support. Thank you for your passion for our games. It continues to drive us. Kay, what are your thoughts on that apology letter?
Honestly, I'm not surprised. Anyone who's been playing multiplayer shooters or any multiplayer games on the PlayStation, their first party know that they're few and far between. But you also know that, between games like Helldivers and actually The Last of Us, whenever they do a multiplayer offering, it looks like they do a good job, right? People speak highly of the Uncharted multiplayer game that came out. I didn't even bother playing it on PS3, but people keep talking about how great that multiplayer was, right? So, I'm not surprised here. There's a lot of pressure on them, being that PlayStation is pivoting to becoming the gas company, as it were, right? So
Is it
So,
too much
know,
too soon though? Like,
there's a lot of pressure.
Is it too many gas games they're trying to push too soon? There's too much pressure.
And,
I mean, you bring
and that is where I go back to JediKnightPeter's comments that this is Jim Ryan's play SIE, right? He's seeing where the money is and he's heading to where that money is. And I mean, do I think it's a bad idea that they pivot to gas games? No, I don't, because obviously that's where the money is made from a business perspective. But Jim is more than happy to tell you that your single player games, the games that brought them there, are now not enough anymore, and that you know, we're now going to pivot to what Xbox is doing, you know, all but saying that. You know, I personally think that maybe you drop one or two in here in addition to the standard fare that got you here that people really appreciate, so you slowly over time, you know, get all those gas games working while slowly bringing your existing existing fan base along with you on the ride, right? Slowly but surely. Unfortunately, basically to your point there, Riskit, you know, they went 10 toes down, as they say, into the gas game area, and you know, it's a lot of pressure, because if the first one comes out and it's not great, the rest will all be looked at in a certain way. Look at and you know, I'm on Xbox, so I gotta throw some Xbox slander. Forgive me. Look at Redfall, right? People were super excited about Xbox coming out with a flywheel of games. Redfall drops and dumps, and now everybody's looking side eye at the rest of them that are potentially coming. This is what PlayStation's trying to avoid, right? They want their first real big gas game to drop with a bang and not with a thud. So maybe they asked Bungie to look at it, and Bungie went, "Nah, fam, this ain't it." Now the question you must ask yourself is Bungie a good judge of such things? Yes, they have a big multiplayer shooter themselves and they're successful in it, but if you go to the Bungie community right now, you ask them how they're doing with Destiny 2, chances are folks aren't happy. Like it's a thing out there. So it will be interesting to see what all of this ends up turning into. But clearly they had something and they asked Bungie to look at it, and Bungie said no. You know, so we shall see.
I suppose that's what they brought Bungie in for, didn't they? I mean, Bungie was brought in there to make sure when they put out live service games that they hit and they're successful. So, look, I trust Bungie's, decision. You know, they're brilliant at this. They're the best at it.
And at the end of the day, say what you will about PlayStation, they are the market leaders for a reason. You hear Shuhei Yoshida is like this wonderful soft-spoken individual in the back room when you're showing him your game. He's a pit bull that will make you cry and get the hell out of here with this crap. That's what they do, right? So we may not understand all the ways of that PlayStation moves, but they are market leaders for a reason. So maybe this is their way, and maybe Xbox should get a bit more aggressive in this realm where they're eyeballing stuff and being more critical with their eye. Who knows?
Yeah, look, I mean, that would have saved the Redfall thing, wouldn't it? Because that game just should not have ever come out. Look, I still stand by what I said before. If The Last of Us factions should have come out with The Last of Us 2, full stop. They should have brought forward factions with The Last of Us remake. I don't actually understand what they're doing. Even Halo, which has a massive following for the multiplayer game, still comes out with a campaign. So there was no need to split those games in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sort of cost them, I think, a little bit of sort of market share, because that factions, as Kay so succinctly put earlier on, is that there could have been a better time for them to come out with these gas games. If they released, had the foresight to release factions with The Last of Us 2 as a gas game, they might have still had their foot on that bus. But I personally think they've missed, there's a lot of market share taken up with Fortnite and, Roblox. And a lot of these other games that are just sort of taking that market over. So they just sort of had that chance. I think they missed the bus, and it is odd that they're hitting it so hard. I think it's more of a measured approach would work better. But Infinite Umbra, you were going to say, I did hear you jump in there.
I lost you, mate.
You've lost me.
Yeah, we lost you.
Yeah, we
lost you for a minute, but you're back now.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Oh. Infinite Umbra, I was just going to ask you what you thought of factions. Star Wars, the reasons why we're seeing this sort of happen behind the scenes. Is it because this is Jim Ryan's reign?
I mean,
he probably doesn't have anything to say because I said everything important. Oh, shit, he's there. Shit.
Jedi tried to steal my answers, but fortunately, everything he said was wrong.
Oh,
No, I
man.
think optically, just optics wise, it looks really bad that they've been working on this game for so many years, and you had Bungie, who was just acquired, step in and be like, "Nah, cancel this shit." Uh, to me, it's also positive because they were smart enough to get, quality multiplayer, creators and Bungie to step in and check the work. So positive for that. That's what they should do. Steph actually asked a really good question. He said, "Should a small Bungie team help with the development of factions?" I think they could be consultants, and I think that would be the smart way to do it. And I think this was consultancy work here to have them step in and say, "Hey, this isn't up to snuff. It's not going to retain people in the long term." I think that's smart, but I would say that it's just optically bad for them to be working on this game for so many years with so many of the PlayStation fans clamoring for it, only for them to now come out and say, "Hey, sorry guys, this went this way." And this is from Naughty Dog. Nobody's expecting that from them. So this is a major drop for them as far as that goes. I wouldn't put it to the level of a Redfall situation, and I guess they didn't get there obviously because they didn't release anything in a bad state. But they said they're still working on it. I guess they're just going back to the drawing board, and they're also working on a single player experience, which is what I think PlayStation fans expect from them. And so it could be.
You know what, Umbra,
Yeah.
real quick. I actually will say to that comparison, this is more Rare and Everwild, isn't it? We're retooling it,
Yeah.
give it some time, that kind of thing, right? Yeah.
It kind of
Please,
is
continue.
actually. It actually is, and I would actually like to see if Everwild, by the way, pops up at the showcase. But that's a good point. Yeah, we had the Everwild situation where we had all this shown years out, and then going back to the drawing board, new director on it, and everything else like that. It definitely looks bad optically in that way. But I will say, if you're looking for the silver lining, it's better for them to look at it now, have a quality, team like Bungie look into it and say it's not up to snuff, than to waste all of their time and then eventually their gamers' time by releasing a poorer product. So I guess the best thing you can look at it is you might not get it now, but you'll get a better game later. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I look, I genuinely do hope that Factions is a good game. I didn't enjoy the first one, to be honest. I mean, I know, speaking of Cassie Cage a while back, she loved it, played it a bunch, and she was really disappointed when it didn't come with The Last of Us 2. But to me, it was
A lot of people were disappointed.
Yeah, but to me, it's just not up. It wasn't up to scratch for me. It didn't feel right. Like, it didn't. I don't know. I mean, maybe just me being a bot spoiled for multiplayer choice. And maybe it's because PlayStation just doesn't have any multiplayer games. That's why they loved it so much. I don't know. But yeah, for me, it wasn't a thing. But I would like to see them come out with a multiplayer banger, and I would like to see them have a more diverse portfolio. And that is one thing I sort of felt from this show. I mean, a lot of us have asked them, like, hey, we want to see that PlayStation go back to the time when they did some weird stuff, right? Now, you can't tell me that Pirates of the Caribbean isn't some weird stuff, So they're doing a little, at least they sort of came in with the indies in the end, and we're hearing some bad things about Factions. We're hearing some things. I think it's more of a wait and see thing. Is sort of the wrap up for me. Is I mean, obviously, one misstep for PlayStation isn't when it comes to showings and when it comes to games, it's not going to kill the platform. It's definitely going to go on strong. But I certainly think if they do this on a regular basis, things are going to get worse, and I would love to see it. Look, I do got to wrap up the show. Before I do, I want to shout out Doom Cutie. She had to leave. I missed the message in our chat. As I was juggling a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes trying to get the damn show moving, when she sort of typed that in, so I missed it. So Cutie, thanks for every week jumping on the show. Guys, if you do, I've got a question here from AJH. I'll read that out, then I will do outros. For Bungie to get Destiny to the point it is now, Bungie needs 600, 700, 800 plus employees. Unless companies are willing to throw money at these service games, they will flop. Yeah, I would have to agree with that, guys. Do you think you'd agree with that, Umbra? Do you think it
I said
requires
that earlier.
a massive studio.
Something I didn't
Look,
say the numbers, but I
Tencent gave
definitely did
Bungie
say
100 million, didn't they?
I did say that
Right.
earlier that it would take a lot of money investment for these games to really excel. That's the problem with games as a service, I think, and the problem that they have so many tells you that they're not going to be investing tons of money into all of them. So I think I think they know some of them are going to flop too, because
Mhm.
typically most fail. So I just think it's a tough game to try to get into, but we'll see how it plays out, I suppose.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, absolutely. And I
I
do
mean,
think it does
I
require
was
a
just
lot of money.
saying that I was just saying that Tencent, I think, gave Bungie $100 million to make the game. Now, I'm not sure if that game is Marathon or if it's a different game, but that's a hell of a lot of money to be invested in. And you're right, Umbra. Most fail. And when you're going up against Fortnite and Apex and COD and some of the biggest hitters in gaming, it's very difficult to get people out of those games that they love.
Hmm
Mm-hmm.
It is,
So
and out of
true.
the ecosystems that they
Because I
love.
have it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that
look.
also makes sense why there's so many of them, right?
Mhm.
Because most fail, and because because PlayStation has already telegraphed to you that this is their future and they need one of these, their Apexes, their Fortnites, those things. That's why they're throwing like 11 at you and hoping that one sticks, because all they need is one.
Yeah, and that's true.
And what happens to the studios with the games that make games with a service that fails? Does Sony still prop them up because they're
I
being
mean, come
forced to
on
make
now,
that
Peter.
game?
You've already said it. This is Jim Ryan's PlayStation, right? He's already had to make difficult decisions for money because of the dollars and the cents. This is Jim Ryan's. This is not Herman Holtz, right? Jimmy Boy is here for the dollars, as they say. The chances are you're gonna get cut.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna
And
get
then,
cut.
I mean, on the back of that, you're seeing good people, good developers losing their jobs. I just don't like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't like
I agree.
PlayStation either. What? Sorry. Look, we do have to wrap the show. There is a couple of topics I want to cover, but we have definitely hit the 2-hour mark well and truly. And so I want to thank the chat. You guys have been absolutely amazing. I do apologize for the technical issues. I did cook the SSD. I don't know if it's completely done, but it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have a look at it after the show. But yeah, guys, thanks for sticking around. Those of you who did, really appreciate all your takes. And I do try to read and get to everyone in the chat and throw it up on screen. Thank you for everyone who threw in a super chat. We appreciate the support. Thank you very, very much. We do go live at 8 p.m. EST every Friday. If you're new here, please subscribe. If you stuck around this long, Asante, thank you, bro, for coming through. Like, I love your takes. Always have. You're very thoughtful. And we were talking earlier and saying that you do have some devil's advocate takes that are always well thought out, and I love to see that, man. I really, really do. So thank you for coming on the show, giving us your time. Let the people know where they can find you, and what you be playing, what do you be up to the next week.
Sure. No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I always enjoy debating. I enjoy having the back and forth, leaving it to the topics at hand rather than, your mama and all of that that some people tend to do on the internet. So I do enjoy a good debate. I do enjoy going back and forth. So catch me. You asked me what games I'm playing. Actually, funny enough, these days, it's between trying to get Jedi Survivor not to crash on me, because yes, I'm playing it on PC. Shut your mouth, Umbra. And I'm also playing.
I didn't even say anything.
And I'm also playing Tears of the Kingdom on both the Abacus and on PC. And yes, it is a glorious experience on PC. It's a whole different conversation. No, it is really fun. People who haven't played it, it's a unique experience. I think people should try it. And even though you're gonna have to probably break out the Abacus to play it, it's still worthy. I suspect. But you can catch me, Asante, TKO Asante, on Xbox, PlayStation, all the places you want to find me. Usually, I am the co-host of the Gaming Circle podcast, which you can find Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel. But this week, we will not be having a show because life happens. My brother, man, Mr. Everborn Saga, is somewhere right now in the Dominican Republic making some business moves. So we decided we're gonna just kibosh it for just a week, just for the week. So there will be no GCP tomorrow, but I think I saw Mr. John Wolf in the chat not too long ago. He and I have been starting some new ventures. You will be seeing me and him on Monday nights talking some entry-level PC talk. Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. A wolf is in the hen house, PCMR and all that. No, I'm just kidding. Well, actually, believe it or not, we put the show together because we feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about PC gaming and all that out there. So we figure we want to put a safe space where people can come and discuss, ask questions, get answers, not feel like too much gatekeeping, things like that. Calling it the Gamers Playground will be Monday nights, Eastern Standard Time, 7 a.m., 1 hour. We'll try to make a nice, concise little show that people can enjoy on a Monday night. So if you can, come check us out there. That's the new show. And GCP will be back next week. But thank you guys as usual. I always love listening to you guys.
I'm glad that you went with that name, because initially I think we heard it was going to be the Gamers Master Race place to play. But I'm glad that you...
What, excuse me?
PC. Infinite Umbra.
Go ahead.
Infinite Umbra, another fantastic show, man. Dave, let people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to, and what you'll be playing for next week.
Oh man, yeah, it's it was good talk today, guys. I'm having issues with the chat. I was trying to send messages.
Me
and it
too,
just
bro.
won't allow me.
I have to close the show down and then bring it back up, brother.
Yeah, I think it must be something going on with YouTube as well.
Issues.
I think it's YouTube. Yeah, I think it's a YouTube issue. Anyway, much thanks to you all in the chat. You all have been dope. Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for joining us again, K brother. It's even better. You didn't have your show here, so this was like your show away from yours, right?
Indeed. Yes.
Yeah. I was gonna say, by the way, since Everborn is out of there, you always could have called in, what I'm saying, the Avengers, like myself and not
Pete.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
Not Pete, not Riskit.
Stop it. We just chose to take a weekend off for once, but no, I understand. And by the way, real quick, I appreciate. I didn't say this when I during my outro, so I'll say it right now. Salute to the man, Infinite Umbra. The fix is amazing. I've been privileged to be on there once. Show is great. I catch it whenever I can. Even when I'm driving, I'm listening in. Great show.
Because I was on it. Yeah.
Well, despite Pete being there, I tried to make the best of it.
Yeah, I haven't been watching it really because I've never been invited, so I don't really know much about it.
I invited him. I did invite him to get to work. He could not join, but no, thank you, Kay. I appreciate that, brother. I really do. Again, I have to make sure people understand this. Like, Kay was the first podcast I actually ever appeared on, so much appreciated to you, brother, and actually bringing me into this field, so to speak. But yeah, you guys can find me, of course, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite on Twitter. You'll find me either way, and of course on Tuesdays, 12 o'clock Eastern. On Xbox Factor with Bowman and Daniel McGee and Retry, Game Pass Daily. And my show, The Fix, on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern. And here, of course, on Xbox Infinite, Fridays at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you going to give a shout out to you going to give a shout out to Bushido in the chat there?
I tried my best to ignore him. I tried my absolute best to ignore him. Why did he get here so late, by the way? I think that's why we had a better show.
He shouted at it to himself. Did you see? Like, because no one actually shouted Bushido out. He had to do it for himself.
I saw it. Funny. Bushido in the house. That's all I took from that.
I'm trying to respond to the chat, and it says resources exhausted. I don't know what's going on. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone in the chat, man. You guys are awesome today.
Yeah, absolutely, Pete. Let them know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, where you'll be playing, and we will get out of here.
At Xbox, at JediKnightPeter, at Twitter, at JediKnightPeter. K, brother, man, awesome again. Awesome to have you on again. I don't get to catch your show, bro, because it's literally on at 4 a.m. for me on a Saturday night.
I know. I've been trying to get you on my show, but I'm just like, I feel horrible because then I'll have you on the show at 4 a.m. That's terrible.
Yeah, man. Like, I try. Like, honestly, I always catch you on the replay, man, and I love your show. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone on the chat. We had a little bit of technical difficulties today, but it was a hell of a lot of fun. Let's go gaming, guys. Awesome.
Yeah, it was a hell of a lot of fun.
It worked out just fine. That you guys' time difference is the way it is because you don't want.
Yeah, look, we do have to get here. So everyone in the chat, you guys have been absolutely amazing. Kay, it's always fantastic to have you on the show, man. And do go and check out Kay's show. Someone linked it in the chat. Can't remember who it was. My bad. But also, if you want to find any one of our guests, you can head down in the description and click those links. If you want to find anyone on the show, you can head down in the description and click those links. And we will get out of here and see you. Udani Quezza linked it in the chat. Thank you very much, Udani Quezza. And we will see you all next week. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you later.
Later, guys.
Thank you.
Another achievement. Yeah.
Man,
Achievement
you
unlocked.
enjoying that soundboard, boy.